Okay, we have the chart. It's a lot of this is getting used to the same structure, so we have a similar content. We get used to what's comfortable, what's convenient to do it. Now, you know what a full natal interpretation is, so we're cutting it down a little bit to just go over the main factors quickly, but really you're supposed to have done the prep work is going through, looking at making sure you know each planet, each sign house, and have a good sense on the aspects and a good sense how each planet works. Because when you're dealing with the transits and the timings, any planet that's affected in your chart, it's going to be affected by the way it is in your chart, not just by generally what the planet is. So there's a certain generality, but really it gets specific when you understand that person's relationship to that planet. Okay, or that planet's relationship to that person, depending which way you look at it. So, okay, we have the natal chart, and we got to go through our first steps. You know, we have our 30 steps, but the first steps are the pattern type. Now, okay, this pattern type was deemed a seesaw, but with the new categories, see, you have the empty trine, and you have a seesaw between the Sun and Pluto. So that would make a seesaw there. However, because there can be two seesaws, there's this Venus to Mars, yeah, because there's a sextile, a second sextile that can divide the chart. Can't be a bowl because there's two planets, Neptune and Mars. So in this case, I have to qualify this. It's not the seesaw, it's actually a splay. It's become clarified with our newer definitions, but there's one area larger than a square, but it can divide the chart in half two different ways through a sextile. So this makes it like it's almost like a double seesaw, but that as soon as there's a double seesaw, it becomes a splay. So this is a splay chart, which has its own uniqueness and has its own rugged individuality. It doesn't fit into all the general standard definitions of others. It has its own way of processing. So it can seesaw either in a certain way. You can double up, say, well, it can has a double seesaw, but most splays will have. And the other way, there's not really, see, there's a moon sextile to Venus, but Saturn's in the middle, so it's not really a sextile or open area there. So no, this definitely is splay type. And then the phase of the moon, here's the Sun in Cancer, the moon's in Aries, so it's just before the waning square or waning half moon. So this would be considered the waning gibbous from 135 to 90 degrees. It's a gibbous and it's waning, so it's the waning gibbous. This is kind of the awareness of, this is where you go from the awareness of the opposition of the light, and it's moving back towards the greater darkness of the new moon. It's moving back to a new receptivity and a tendency to getting a sense of how to complete the old so that the new can come along better. I like to just hold these pattern type, the pattern type especially, it often comes in to show how a person behaves along the way. Now, then we look at the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. We see someone with a Cancer Sun. They have the Aries Moon and a Virgo rising. So when we think of this, the first thing that stands out, these are all I, me signs. All the daylight is greater on all of these: Cancer, Moon, and Aries, Virgo rising. So it puts the initial focus just on these factors on I, me, and doing my thing and what I'm doing. This means it's more of what I'm doing than, it's not so much how much responsibility, how much belonging or whatever. That's a different thing. Now, they are above the horizon, so there is the responsibility factor comes in, but this factor of the I, me, of having to see his own life, see his own direction, and make his own moves, that's going to be strongly there. And but 3 points: the Sun and the Ascendant nighttime's increasing, the Moon daylight's increasing, so it goes a bit each way. We'll see that more when we get to the whole totals. But that's the first thing you see, and you see that the Moon and the Sun are both cardinal, pushy, but they're kind of they're not exactly square each other. They're just at the orb of the square, but by sign they're square. So you have the sensitive moody, driving Cancer that has their sense of security, their need for security, and this is important. It's important to have this security. I have this this sensitivity, and my feelings are important. So it has that sensitive style of the Cancer, the cardinal water, but it has the impulse of the moon, the feelings, which rules the sun, is in Aries, and it's impulsive, impatient, it's restless. It wants to act on those feelings. So one part is trying to have the feelings, the other tries to act on it. In fact, it's just, you have a tendency, since both are cardinal, there's a tendency to try and push too much, or there's almost a potential conflict. Now one is trying to be more sensitive, the other is trying to be more assertive. And this is just the stress factor within the person. It's part of his driving mechanism. If he needs something, he's going to push for it. He's not going to want to wait for it. He's going to have trouble staying put. Okay, so that's the first main. We're just looking at the Virgo rising is sort of very analytical, very self-critical, very discriminating. So you have the rash impulsiveness of the Aries moon. You have the analytical side of the Virgo, has to have a system, wants to see things, or is analyzing things, and always try to find new ways of improving things or getting things better. And you have the Cancer sun. Okay, now, so just in terms of attitude, this is a pushy person that will adjust when he needs to adjust, when he has to. It's assertive and adjusting, but I don't want to get into the more details of this later. We see the ascendants conjunct Pluto, so there's some confrontations or fears or blocks or power struggles around his identity or challenges around it. So we'll come into these things a little bit more when we just a little further on. Right now, it's just the first set of standards: fire, water, and earth. We don't fire, water, and earth. Yeah, we don't see the air in the sun, moon, and ascendant. There was a Mercury element with that Virgo rising. Okay. Now, okay, when we get to, sorry, I got to move this over a little bit. We see the planets and the signs in the breakdown. 2 points I have: the sun and the moon in Aries. 2 points I have: Saturn and Venus in Taurus. 2 points I think: Mercury in the midheaven, Gemini. 2 points I feel: the sun in Cancer. 0 points I will. 3 I analyze. That's the Virgo. Venus and the Jupiter and the Pluto and the Virgo rising. 1 point I balance. 1 point I desire. 1 point I understand. 0 points I use, I know, or I believe. So that's his sign breakup. So the analyze is strong. The Virgo is a strong element here. The Aries and the Cancer, well, the Taurus and the Gemini, those all come out evenly at 2. They're all sort of fairly strongly accentuated. When we look at daylight is greater, daylight increasing or darkness increasing, 6 points daylight increasing, but 8 points is darkness increasing. So there's a tendency that we saw that with the sun in Cancer and the Virgo rising. There's a tendency to be more trying to belong or trying to be more responsible or trying to take on commitments more than trying to be more free. There's still 6 points in the daylight increasing trying to be free, but there's 8 trying to belong more, trying to be more responsible with the darkness increasing. Okay. When we look at daylight is greater, 11 points daylight is greater, 3 points darkness is greater. So even though he's trying to move towards increasing darkness or increasing responsibility or being sensitive and responsible, there's 11 point daylight greater. He's got to do it his way. He's got his way. He's got to function. He's got to do it his way. He's not going to be able to listen and do what he's told or be that. He's not living for the responsibility. He's living for what he can do, what he can achieve, what he can make happen. That's the daylight is greater. I got to be free. I got to do it my way. I got to see where I'm going, my way. Okay, now, when you go through winter, 0.6 spring, 5 summer, 3 autumn. So spring and summer are his peak times. You know, those are when the sun, the moon, and Mercury, sun, Mercury, Venus will all go over his planets. Those are the peak points of activity in his life. Winter is a little more stabilized, a little more, well, not as active, let's say. When you take cardinal, fixed, mutable, 6 mutable. 6 to that. We don't see that with the sun and moon, but when you take the Mercury, you take the ascendant, Jupiter, Pluto, and the Mars in Sagittarius, you have the 6 points, mutable and 5 cardinal. So this is, when we first looked at your, this is adaptable and driving. So still, before when we looked at sun, moon, we saw the driving personality with the driving nature with adaptable personality. Here we still have this. We have the very adaptable, perceptive person, and who drives to make things happen, who's trying to change things and make things happen, but it's not necessarily very stable or consistent. Okay. So we just use it. We've done all this. We've done these for a lot of your own charts and for other people's charts. So when we get to the fire, water, air, earth, 3 fire, 3 air, 3 water, 5 earth. Well, there is a really practical down to earth side. As out of the elements, there is a practical down to earth side. It's not coming from the Cancer sun or the Aries moon. It's coming from the Virgo rising and the planets in the earth signs. There's 5 points, a little stronger, a little more practical. That is a general theme. So he's got to be practical in his own way, taking care of some responsibilities, but doing it his way. Okay. Masculine, feminine, 6 masculine, 8 feminine. So there's a tendency to reflect a little bit more than project. So even though he's driving and that way, he's still reflecting and measuring a little bit more than he's projecting. Okay. We don't have it. We're just starting. We're looking at a chart. We're just building up the caricature of the DNA or getting. We're tuning into the type of challenges this individual has. And when we know an area is being triggered or something, then we can go into it more deeply. But it's just good to have these numbers and these percentages in the background in our mind as we go on with the chart. So when we're looking at the rulerships, the sun doesn't rule anything. Sun's in Cancer is not ruling anything. The moon rules too. It rules the 2 points. That's the sun and moon in Cancer. Okay. Mercury has 5 points it rules. That's the Mercury and the midheaven is in Gemini, and the Virgo rising and the Pluto and the Jupiter, they're all ruled by Mercury. So that's 5 points. So the way he thinks is very important, because it's going to have, if his thinking is good, it's going to have a very powerful, profound effect on his chart. If the thinking is off track or he goes through a phase where it's not thinking well, it's going to have a significant effect on his whole chart. It's going to affect 5 planets, 5 points. Venus is 3. So his sense of values and appreciation is strong. What he wants, it's like Mercury's 5, thinking, but what he wants is 3. He wants these things. He has a strong sense of values. So his values, what he wants, what he likes, what he doesn't like, these are going to have a strong sense. They're going to, that's present. And so is the need to act on it, to act for what he wants and to react to what he doesn't want, like the Venus and the Mars, both fairly prominent. So here he has all the personal planets. Mercury, Venus, Mars are the big accentuated ones, but Saturn, Jupiter, they're not so big. They're not, Jupiter's 1, Saturn's no rulership. So this is not your planets, and it's like, this is the rulership, is how these planets have an effect on the other planets they rule, on the signs they rule, on the planets they rule.